If you can answer that, then well, I don't know, why are you even here? Hello, thanks a lot for clicking on the video and welcome to my tiny little home office. Now, if you're going to ask why is there a ship on the background and a plant under the ship, then because why not? And also, otherwise I guess the background would look otherwise too sad. There's nano leaf panels coming, so soon it'll look bright and flashy, but we're not there yet. Now, before we begin, there are a lot of ways how you can get paid as a content creator. I'm not going to cover things like how to monetize your content on YouTube or how to get paid by Spotify downloads, but the thing I will be really focusing on is brand collaborations and partnerships. So this is a perfect video for you if you're on the outlook for your first ever brand collaboration, or if you're just looking to make things more effective. So my goal here really is to help you get paid, money, cash, monetary value, so you can really invest it into getting better equipment or pay your rent and all that kind of good stuff. So you don't have to accept this kind of product offers where they offer you a toothbrush in return for 2 video content pieces, which happens more often than you think. Quick disclaimer here as well, I'm not a content creator myself and these are just my thoughts and opinions. There are a lot of videos covering this topic, usually from the creator's perspective, but now I'm coming in from the other side and showing you what the brands are really looking for. And my insights really have come from talking to hundreds of brands across the world, helping them make their influencer marketing campaigns more effective. So I really believe that there are a couple of things that I can help you with. And also the things that I cover, I will just run through them in no particular order, and I hope you will find them useful. If you do, please hit that like button and share and ring the bell. Also, if you have some extra tips that I didn't cover, or even if you disagree with some of the things I say, make sure to hit all those kind of things in the comment description thingy down below. You know what to do. First off, the most important thing for you to think about is what kind of value you're creating for the brand or the company that you're working with. Because that's the main thing for companies. They're looking for what you can get for them in terms of actual value. Some things to consider here is that you're not selling them a post, you're not creating them a swipe up Instagram story or a video clip. And yes, in a lot of these cases, a video post or a content piece is something that you're creating, but in most cases, it's actually secondary. It could be just giving advice on the product as an expert, showing it off to a really direct, targeted niche audience, driving X amount of new sales, or increasing the number of followers on their branded accounts. The really juicy metric here is the actual new customers that you're bringing in, because let's say if you're working with a brand and they pay you $300 to make a content post, then to actually make it worth their while, they would need around $600 to get back in return from the new customers buying their products. And this kind of carries over to the next topic as well, which is that don't ask for too much. So even if you know somehow that out of this collaboration the company will get 100 new customers and will make $5,000, then it's okay for you to ask $4,500 for a post, because there can be actually a lot more costs for the brand that you may not be strictly aware of. So a couple of these things that the brands definitely have to consider is, if they're selling a product, what's the cost of making that product? They have to ship and deliver that product, they have to maintain their website, they have to hire a support person who can handle the new customers coming in and making sure that they're happy, and of course they have to pay for a salary for the person who is currently talking to you and setting up a collaboration between the brand and yourself. And these things can really quickly add up actually for companies. I only named a few, so for some companies out there the margins are very tight that they can play around with, so just a thing to keep in mind. Okay, so the next thing really is knowing your own insights, and that when it comes to marketers, data is king. And really anything that you can provide them will be very useful here. So for example, in this case, it could be what's the percentage of male and female followers that you have, or the age groups that follow you, or what kind of things they're interested in, or how many swipe ups do you get usually whenever you make a story post, or what's the percentage of clicks that you get on your links. This is very actionable information for any brand out there, and this will really set the professional tone for the collaboration, also showing them that you know what you're worth, and also making you more trustworthy when it comes to these kind of partnerships. Because I've heard many times from the companies where they write to influencers, they just agree to a post for money and they send the thing and they never make a post, and then the brand is kind of stuck where they're not really able to do anything about it. So now moving over to the best collaboration type for the brands. If you're going to offer this kind of a partnership for a company, they will love you forever, and pretty much there's no real reason why they shouldn't take it, because it's just so good for them, and some ways also for you. So what I'm really talking about here is that in the influencer marketing scenario, this term is coined as brand ambassador programs. What it actually really means is affiliate marketing just through influencers or content creators. How it works is a company or a brand will give you a coupon code or a trackable link that they can see how many customers you specifically brought to them, and then they will pay you for every new customer. So as an example, if you agree with the company that for every new customer they will pay you $20 and you get that company 10 new customers, then by the end of the month they will pay you $200. Why this works for companies really well is that there's no upfront cost for them, and they really pay you only when they make money. So it basically eliminates all the risk for them. But how can it actually benefit you as well? So this will guarantee basically for you a long-term partnership, because the goal here is really to keep getting more and more customers in. As long as you're happy with the amount of money that you make, you really don't have to go out and look for any other partnerships, because you can just keep doing this. And you know, if some trickier times you're really short on money, you can push the product a little bit more to, you know, get more sales and then make more money in this sense. So in some ways you can start building a steady source of income, but definitely there are a couple of things to consider here as well, where you don't want to be too pushy with the product, because the audience can get tired very easily in this case as well. So it's a great way of just getting a brand locked in with a partnership and working with a brand long term. Or it can be really useful if you have a large audience and the amount that they give you is really high for every new customer. Then you can be actually making a lot more money compared to if you were to make a regular post. So let's say for a post you would have made $500, whereas through these conversions within the same month you made $2,000. And then let's say you made a YouTube video and this is still there on YouTube forever and it keeps bringing in the company more customers, then, you know, even a couple months down the line you might be still making, you know, $300, $200, $100 here and there from that earlier content piece that you made. Okay, another tip is to really understand, are they trying to take advantage of you or if they are just ignorant? So I really highly recommend you to always keep an open mind, especially if you do get a really awful collaboration offer. It totally might not be because they want to squeeze the life out of you and get as much as possible for as little as possible. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of companies out there who are willing to do that and more. But there are still so many companies, I would say 1 in 3 who I talk to, that are just starting out. They have no idea what they should be doing. And so that's when they can come to you and say that, yeah, I will give you a free bamboo toothbrush, now please make me 2 video content pieces. It's just because they don't know any better, because they haven't created content themselves. They don't consider in the same way where you might not consider, you know, that the company has to pay a salary for someone who upkeeps their website. They don't consider that you are using really expensive equipment, that you spent a lot of time understanding how to use the equipment, maybe even took some training courses. The actual time that gets put into making the content, you'll be surprised how many companies out there still think that, you know, making a Instagram story post takes you 20 seconds and a selfie. And the most important thing, which companies usually don't realize, is that it took you a lot of hard work, time and sweat to actually build an engaging audience around you that they're trying to leverage. Also, if you're pointing these kind of things out, the person who you're talking to is more likely to up their offer, especially if they're a new company as well, and you point these things out to them. They will be glad that someone told them that they didn't waste their time with these ridiculous offers to everybody else as well, and then trying to figure out what's wrong, because you know, sometimes it's just hard to figure out these things. Now, the next thing which I've heard a lot of is that companies say that influencers are just looking for money, that they just want to make one post and to be done with it. But it doesn't really need to be like this, and there are actually multiple ways how you can upsell your own services when trying to build a more long-term collaboration. So to grant you some extra insight here from the brand's perspective again, is that long-term partnerships work a lot better than short-term partnerships. Because just imagine that, you are following someone that you really like, and then they make a promotional content piece. The first time when you see it, you might be busy, or there might be hundreds of reasons why not to check the product out, and you may even think that you might check it out later because you're lazy right now, whereas that next time will actually never come. So in order to actually get more customers through these brand sponsorships, you need the product to be in front of viewers' eyeballs multiple times. So how can you turn this into your benefit? Well, if it's established, for example, that you charge $500 for a single post, it might be beneficial for you and the company when you would offer then a longer term partnership of, let's say, 4 posts for $1,500 across the month. Then it's a win-win both ways, because the company needs to spend less per post, and you also make an extra $1,000. Of course, there's more work that you have to put in here now, but then you don't have to again waste time finding new sponsorships. And if you're already making multiple posts for a specific brand, it's a lot easier to make another post for the same brand, to make a completely different post for a different brand. And this can also build you towards a different type of brand ambassadorship, where the company can actually pay you a salary to consistently every month make content pieces about them. Okay, the next thing here to think about is to offer them the rights to use your content. Often when marketers are really focused on getting new customers, they often miss that there's this professional content being made and just sitting there waiting to be used. So if you can't get into an agreement with them what they will pay you for the collaboration, offer them also the rights to use the content however they want. A very standard way how companies would use this content is to run YouTube or Facebook or Instagram ads. And it's great for them because the ads will be presented to the same people that are following you. So just because your face is there, the ads will be a lot more effective than really anything that they could come up with themselves. And now this is also something that I wouldn't recommend to start off with in the beginning, but I know some bigger influencers are using this also to make more money. They make the posts for a certain amount of money, but then that post is basically licensed out for their ad campaigns. And how this can work, let's say I charge $50,000 for an Instagram story post. Now if you want to use that story post then in your ads on Facebook, you would have to pay me $35,000 extra for every day that you run those ad campaigns. So just something to keep in mind, but yeah, definitely in the beginning I would avoid that. Instead, you can use what I will tell you now in the next tip. Give them multiple options. Often when a company comes and asks you for a partnership deal, they will ask what's your rate, and whatever the offer you give them, if they're not happy with it, they might just not respond to you at all. That's why it's really good to give them multiple options, and you can work in different benefits into those options as well, so to make certain ones more appealing than other ones. So how it could look like, for example, is that I have 4 different options of how we could collaborate. Number 1 could be $500 for 1 post. Option number 2, $1,000 for 3 posts. Option number 3, we can make 5 posts for $2,000, but this will also include the rights to reuse the content however you want. Or we could do 25% commission rate for every new customer that I bring in. This is very flexible for the company to really see what they can make work with you. It might give them new ideas what to do, and especially if they're interested in this sharing your content part, then the 3rd tier will be also more appealing to them. And finally, just ask more questions. I think this is something that, influencers, companies, brands, me, whatever, your mom, nobody does enough of. So if you have any questions, just ask them. Don't be afraid, because you can learn a lot from it, and there are no stupid questions, especially if you're new to this. Ask if they have worked with other influencers and who they have been. Ask how those campaigns went, what kind of content was created. Ask how you will be paid. Ask, do you have to sign a contract? Ask ask when do they want the content to be delivered. And also to keep in mind here is that there are a lot of marketers out there who have no idea what they're doing, so don't be afraid if you have no idea what you're doing as well. It's okay. We have all been in this spot at some point in our lives. And one final thing I want you to think about in general is, why are you the best person to promote this specific product? If you can answer that, then well, I don't know, why are you even here? But okay, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found this helpful. Again, if you found some good stuff here, please click that like button, ring the bell, subscribe, and do all that kind of good stuff. Call your mom, say, hey, this dude is talking about influencer stuff. I know that you don't understand, but please watch this guy. I love this guy. Yeah.